Okay guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, fasten your seatbelts. Here we go. Okay guys, it's Tuesday, November 12th, and we've got some Q posts to cover, so that's what we're going to do next. I'm going to cover all of the Q posts from yesterday in detail, then hopefully I'll be able to record another video tonight that will have the latest news. So let's get right into it. I have one person to thank, but I'll do that at the end so that I will avoid the chatting. All right, now, because I know you diehard people, you listen right to the very end, and God bless you for it. But, well, you know what? Let me go ahead and thank this person right now, then in case I forget about it. But this person was the only one this time. No Patreon, no snail mail. But I had a coffee donor, Mississippi Mendy, and said, "Here's to you, Michelle. I'm waiting for your GoFundMe campaign for a SCIF, a secured cat-proof information facility." Not a bad idea. Anyway, I appreciate all of my donors in any way that you support me at all. It is all good and it all helps. So thank you very much. And let's go on and get into Q. So we're going to just start with the first one. I didn't record this yesterday because, as I said, I was right ready to come and record, and I realized that Q had been posting up a storm. So I wanted to take time and look at them and really understand what Q was saying so that I could bring that to you. Now, probably you've gone ahead and listened to some other people, and I think that's always a good idea. The more people you listen to, the more well-rounded your understanding is. So I would never discourage that. And there are some really great people out there covering Q. So let's start with the first post from yesterday, November 11th, and it was /DE and then capital C/Q. Now, I'm just going to be straight up honest with you. I don't know what this means, but my first inclination is to say that it's probably a message to someone, or it could be a future proofs past post that will mean something to us in the very near future. That happens a lot with Q, and if you're someone that has been following Q for a long time, you know that. A lot of times we'll skim over something and we'll think, well, I don't really know what that means, but then Q will post something further down the road and we'll go back to it and go, oh, okay, that makes sense now. And usually he's posting something beforehand as a proof, a future proofs past proof, because he's posting it, then it happens down the road and he says, and then you go, okay, that's what that meant. He was letting us know beforehand, but in a coded way. There are some people that have said perhaps it is December 3rd because it DE, small DE, and then C is both, it both forms the December, but also C is capitalized. It's the third letter of the alphabet. So could it be December 3rd? I don't know. And I'm not going to try to pretend that I do. So let's move on. And when I have more information about that, I will get back to you. And so let's move to the next one. And it is November 11th. Obviously, all of these posts are. And it is /AGG_RECIR_DE and then capital C/. Now, when Q posted this, it makes me think that, okay, again, I'm not sure what it pertains to, but it's obviously code. And I'm thinking that it might be, well, I think it'll become plain what I'm saying as we go on, because I think that this is perhaps part of a code that's not really meant for us, but I'm going to touch on that a bit in the posts to come. So again, not sure what this is or what it pertains to, but it's obviously code. Now, is it meant for us? Is it meant for Code Monkey? Is it meant for, who's it meant for? I don't know. But let's go on. Now, the next post, 3577 is where we're at, and it's just got a link. So let's take a look at this link and see what Q is wanting to point out to us. He never sends us to a link without a reason why. And when he sends us to a link, we can be darn sure that he agrees with it, because if he doesn't agree with it, he'll say something else about it. But pointing us there, not saying anything else, he's obviously agreeing with this, and it isn't something you can agree or disagree with. It's a fact. It says Q, then POTUS, then Q. This is the Q I know. So what he is pointing out to us is this. He's saying that Q posted, then POTUS posted, tweeted, like Q posted on the board, POTUS tweeted to Twitter, and then Q posted again to the board. So, and in very quick succession, because this is 12:56. No, okay, it goes the other way. Hang on. Let me go here. So this is the first post at 12:46 by Q, the one we just looked at a second ago, DECQ. And then above, let me just wait till and then right here at 12:48, so 12:46, we've got Q posting to the Q board. Then 12:48, we've got POTUS tweeting, and he said, "Today our nation comes together to salute the veterans of the United States Armed Forces." Then so he's going to show us again, and okay, we just looked at that. Okay, wait. See, this is it's a hard way to do this, but okay, so then he posts again. POTUS posts at 12:48 p.m. Then he tweets this at 12:48 p.m. on November 11th. "The First Lady and I have come to express the everlasting love and loyalty of 327 million Americans." Then, so that's in very quick succession. Then he posts this. The president says, "On November 11th, we share our nation's deepest praise and gratitude to every citizen who has worn the uniform of the American Army, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, and Marines." Then 12:56, we have the post that we just looked at. So it's interesting that POTUS is tweeting in between Q posts. So there's Q, there's POTUS 3 times, then Q. Interesting. Now let's go back. I don't think he said anything else of interest here. No, he's just showing us that. And that was just I guess he's pointing it out. He's saying, look, Q is posting, right around the same time as POTUS is posting. So we know that it's probably, coming from the same people and coordinated at least. All right, now it says this video, it should be pointed out that in this video, sorry, I'm correcting this for the notes because I do post these notes to Patreon. I do have a website that I used to keep up with it, and it used to get a lot of traffic, but I just stopped because I was so busy with other things. But I may that website is still up. It's just I haven't done anything with it for a long time. There's just like old articles on there, but I may commandeer that website and start posting links to the videos, the notes to the videos, and other written things there. So I don't know. We'll see how my time is, but that is the idea that's in my head right now, or that has been in my head. All right, so in this video, Q pointed, in the video that Q pointed us out to, I'll correct it later, shows that this morning there was a post by Q, followed by 3 tweets by POTUS, followed by a tweet by Q. No deep hidden meaning there. And then Q, again, posting at 16:03 Eastern Time yesterday. That would have been in the evening. He tweets another link to Just Informed, and we're going to go take a look at that. I hear cats being cats. Okay, it says nothing to see here, just real Donald Trump confirming the new 8kun.net forum in last night's speech. Wait, what? Now, let's listen to this.
Have to reject their extremism and their socialism and their corruption. They're corrupt. Adam Schiff is a corrupt politician.
Yes, he is.
You know, when he made that phony speech where he made up a really horrible speech and said that I said it, I said, oh, I'm going to sue him. They said, sir, I'm sorry, you can't. He's got total immunity because he made it in Congress. Can you believe this? But, you know, here's the good news. At least we have a forum. We have a place we can talk so everyone knows what's going on. Bunch of phony people. But this is what... But you have to reject their extremism. And
so it's just starting over again. But interesting, he says, but we have a forum where we can talk. Well, isn't it interesting that the forum was up yesterday, and, well, it's not really a forum, but it's 8kun, and Q was posting the same day that Donald Trump said this. I don't know. I think that's... quite something if you ask me, but let's go back because I have a few other things to say about this. And one, I pulled this out from Doc Rock 1007, who's a great person to follow on Twitter if you are on Twitter. And if you're not, why not? It's a great place. You learn a lot on Twitter. Okay, and he says, we now have a forum, a place we can talk. QAnon appears to confirm in drop 3578, what we just looked at, that Just Inform You's tweet from November 2nd when POTUS, okay, that was November 2nd, when POTUS mentioned a forum at his rally in Mississippi on November 1st, was POTUS talking about the impending launch of 8kun on the 2nd of November. Okay, so I was mistaken. This was actually, POTUS actually said that on the 1st of November. He said that on the 1st of November, and the launch of 8kun was on the 2nd of November. So why would he say that? Because at that time when he said that, we didn't have a forum that we could talk. There is no forum where conservatives or Trump supporters can talk that's not censored. It didn't exist on November 1st. So what was POTUS talking about? Well, a lot of people would say that, well, he's just crazy. He's stupid. He's got rocks for brains. Well, afraid not. Afraid not. He was letting us know before it happened that 8kun was going to launch the following day. And it truly would be a forum for us to discuss what have you, because it is not censored. And there's some more revelations about that coming up. So let's go on to the next one. All right, and this one, it says /AGG _image _failure /route, and then /route _DOD _11 11 18 American or / America will be unified again. Future proves past. Q. Well, what does that mean? Well, when I first read that, I thought, okay, it looks like something's been rerouted, that maybe there was an image and it failed to aggregate and they're routing it through the Department of Defense. Does that mean 11 11 18? Wait, what does that mean? We're going to look and find out. Very interesting stuff. Okay, ag image failure indicates the aggregator sites like QMAP didn't pick up a screenshot image with the drop. It was then rerouted through the DoD server. Proof is below. Okay, if you look up this IP address, if you think that could be an IP address, then and you look it up, 11.11.18, what do you find? Well. This is what you find. Let me make this a little bit bigger for you. Well, we find this. Look, there it is right there. There's the IP address, 11.11.18.0. And that is an IP address. And who does it belong to? Well, it belongs to the DoD Network Information Center. Yes, it does. So it says if you want to get all the details for all IPs, simply use our IP address locator here and search IP addresses ranging from 11.11.18 to 11.11.18.255. Those are all the IP addresses of the DoD Network Information Center. Well, so what a coincidence then, right? You know, that Q is saying ag image failure. It failed to populate on the aggregated sites like QMAP. So it's being routed through the DoD, and you look up that IP, and lo and behold, it belongs to the DoD. And it says, America will be unified again. Future proofs past. Q. Let's go on. Not to the next post, but on to the rest of. All right. Now, if you go back to April 21st, 2018, not that long ago, much less than a year ago, there's an anonymous post here. It says, thank Q, we are an existential threat to the establishment. Hashtag trusting the plan. Q responds and says, America will be unified again. America will be unified again. 11.11.18. Well, 11.11.18, oh no, that is more than a year ago. I'm sorry, I must be sniffing glue. But yeah, so what was Q saying here? And what are the odds that this says 11.11.18, which many assumed was a date? I did. Way back then, I remember thinking that's a date. But what are the odds that Q put that way back then, April 21st, 2018, which was a year and a half ago or more. And then we have this, that's a DoD IP address, and then he writes this. Route through the DoD 11.11.18. America will be unified again. Future proves past. Future proves past. What more do we want? How is it that people still think this is a conspiracy theory? Like a year and a half, more than a year and a half ago, Q says the exact same thing that he's saying here. America will be unified again. 11.11.18. But nobody knew what it meant then, did they? Nope. Well, we do now. It's the IP address for the DoD, and it's the IP address that is routing 8kun. So, yeah. Do you think a conspiracy theory gets routed through the DoD? Really? Really? Well, if that's what your friends and family think, then I don't know. Because if anybody that can really study this stuff and look at it in depth, I don't know how they can deny this. I really don't. If you can, more power to you, but I don't know how you can deny that. It's being routed through the Department of Defense. So, is it secure? Yeah, I'd say so. Alrighty. Now we can go on to the next post. So this is the next post, and it is a wonderful quote by Thomas Jefferson, Woodrow Wilson and Thomas Jefferson again, 3 quotes. The first, I prefer dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery. Thomas Jefferson. That, when you think about it, that is quite profound, and that is my sentiment. I would rather risk my life and be free than be at peace and a slave. The second one, what we seek is the reign of law, based upon the consent of the governed and sustained by the organized opinion of mankind. That is a quote from Woodrow Wilson. The third, educate and inform the whole mass of people. They are the only sure reliance for the preservation of our liberty. Thomas Jefferson. Now that was spoken by Thomas Jefferson, but I know that that is the sentiment of Q and of POTUS, that we educate and inform the whole mass of people. Now, whether they want to accept it or not, I remember Q saying that there was a certain percentage, it was a small percentage of people, it didn't matter what you did or what you showed them or what, they're still not going to believe it. So, but we still have the obligation to let them know. So educate and inform the whole mass of people. They are the only sure reliance for the preservation of our liberty, because an informed people is hard to, tyranny can't stand against informed people. It can't, because, you know, that's why there's been such an effort for the dumbing down of America, right? Because it's harder to rule over intelligent, well-informed, logical people. It's very difficult. So, yeah, and that's what Q's been doing for the last 2 years. He has been 3 years, actually, isn't it? Isn't it going to be 3 years? I don't know. I lose track of time. It's crazy. But Q has been doing that, and so has POTUS. We would not be in the place that we're at without either of those. And I say man because I don't know. I know Q as a group of people, but it's easier to refer to Q as a male. I don't know. It just is for me anyway. But we don't know who Q is, and it's pretty much a given that it's a group of people. But we know that Q plus is the president himself, because he's told us so. All right, let's go to the next one. And this is calm before the storm. POTUS. Month / day Q public campaign initiated. It was let me see. October 28th of 2017. 2 years ago. Yeah. Okay. And then month, day, Durham initiated. We're going to get to all this in a second. What famous crime family did Durham target? Also spearheaded mob prosecutions of the Gambino, Genovese, I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, and Patriarca crime families. And then what ABC agency did Durham target? That would be the CIA. How are messages sent? We're going to get into this. So, and then December 12th, 2018, what if there's another prosecutor? And this is actually quoted from Q's post from December 12th, 2018, where he said, what if there's another prosecutor outside of DC assigned by Sessions with the same mandate / authority? Q. Do you believe in coincidences? Nope, not when it comes to this stuff. 5-5. Do you hear loud and clear? We sure do. Be ready, patriots. Now, we're not done with this by any stretch of the imagination, because we've got more to get into here. First of all, we're going to go to the first link. And CIA abuse investigator John Durham. This is from Wednesday, August 26, 2009. He is what? A CIA abuse investigator. Hang on here. I'm going to take a sip of this because the warm will help my throat and hopefully prevent me from coughing. John Durham is a low-profile professional thrust into a decidedly high-profile assignment. The press-shy Connecticut prosecutor was tapped by Attorney General Eric Holder on August 24th to investigate alleged mistreatment of terror suspect by CIA interrogators and contractors. His appointment came on the heels of a newly released Justice Department report indicating interrogators abused prisoners by, among other things, threatening to kill one man's family and choking another man to the point of unconsciousness. Durham, 59, is no stranger to top-level governmental investigations. In 1999, he was selected by Attorney General Janet Reno to probe law enforcement corruption in Boston. Last year, he was named by Attorney General Michael McCasey to head the ongoing investigation into the destruction of CIA interrogation videotapes. Colleagues say Durham is thorough and cautious in deciding whether a case deserves to be prosecuted. But once he fixes on a target, the veteran lawyer usually catches his prey. Now, there's some fast facts down here. And he led a task force to go after Hartford street gangs in 1992, spearheaded mob prosecutions of the Gambino, Genovese, and Patriarca crime families, led numerous public corruption investigations in Connecticut, including that of former Governor John Rowland, who resigned in 2004 and pleaded guilty to accepting gifts and vacations from contractors doing business with the state. He served a year in prison. At the request of then Attorney General Reno, investigated whether notorious Boston mobsters James Whitey Bulger and Stephen the Rifleman Fleming had corrupted the FBI agents whom they served as informants. That probe led to conviction of retired FBI agent John Connolly Jr., sentenced to 10 years in prison for helping the two avoid prosecution. The investigation helped inspire the Martin Scorsese film, The Departed. In 2000, he uncovered FBI documents showing 4 convicted murderers had been framed by agents in the 1960s. 2 of the men were released and later won a $100 million civil loss judgment against the government. The other 2 had died in prison. Registered Republican, though, he's worked under both parties, and associates say he keeps politics out of his work. Married with 4 sons, one of whom is a federal prosecutor in Brooklyn, New York. And he's described by the Hartford Courant as frequently appearing impatient, distracted, and privately amused in court, an observant Catholic and avid Red Sox fan. Let me see. We're not going to go through all the quotes. I just wanted to get that information about what he's done and who he is. Of course, we have looked at this before in the past, but since Q has, given us this link, it's always good to have a refresher. So let's go back. There's more. And we're going to get to this link also in that drop, in that particular post anyway. And says, killer says he murdered reputed mafia boss to protect Trump. Anthony Comello, 24, murdered alleged mob boss Frank Cali because he became convinced he was part of a deep state conspiracy against President Trump, his lawyers allege. Yeah. And now we're gonna come back to this. I'm not gonna go through all of this, but interesting how they're bringing this all around to Q. A conspiracy theory stemming from the anonymous message boards forums of 4chan, QAnon alludes to Q, an anonymous poster claiming to be a high-ranking government official with security clearance who has knowledge of a deep state conspiracy against President Trump. Q has alleged, among other things, that Democratic establishment figures such as Hillary Clinton, John Podesta, and Barack Obama are members of a child sex trafficking ring, and that Robert Mueller's investigation into Trump's alleged collusion with Russia is actually a front for investigating the ring. QAnon believers look forward to the storm, or the day when Trump exposes. See, you can tell that these people don't know what they're talking about because they get everything wrong. or the day when Trump exposes those colluding against him and throws them in Guantanamo Bay, and frequently analyzed Trump's rallies and speeches for hints or breadcrumbs referring to the storm. There is no evidence to support any of these allegations. Oh, really? Oh, Rolling Stone. Yeah, you make me laugh. According to Gottlieb, Comello became deeply obsessed with the QAnon-related message board shortly after Trump was elected and became convinced he was a vigilante working on Trump's behalf. So you can see, what this is. And he was probably set up, because they do that. They do that so that they can, get Q in the news and make it seem like you've got to be an idiot to believe this. It's a conspiracy theory, and there's all these crazies running around with homicidal intent because they've listened to Q. That's what they want you to believe. It's not true. It's not even a bit true. It doesn't even have a kernel of truth in it. So that is what. And let's look at this. According to Gottlieb, Comello became obsessed. Okay, we read that. And then earlier this year, he arrived at Gracie Mansion to hold suspected deep state member Mayor Bill de Blasio under citizen's arrest. He also approached U.S. federal marshals to ask them for their assistance in arresting 2 Democratic officials that are frequently associated with QAnon, Representative Maxine Waters and Adam Schiff. Oh, what are the odds? The federal marshals declined. Mr. Comello's support for QAnon went beyond mere participation in a radical political organization, Mr. Gottlieb wrote. It evolved into a delusional obsession. This is not the first time QAnon believers have been linked to violence. Wow. We're violent? Didn't know that. Last year, Reddit banned a QAnon subreddit after it had been deluged with violent threats from supporters. Yeah, that was not QAnon supporters. They send bots in there. They send paid shills in there to make it seem that way, to frame those that believe in Q. Anyway, QAnon subreddit after it was deluged with violent threats from supporters. Earlier this year, a 22-year-old man accused of attempting to burn down a pizzeria associated with Pizzagate, a related far-right conspiracy theory, was found to have reposted a QAnon video hours before the incident. This is absolutely asinine. Let's go back now. We've got lots more to get to here, and it's all going to tie in together. I promise. Now, this by SunQ2, on wonderful person to follow on Twitter if you're not already. Really trust his Q-DECODEs. He often, even after I've looked and looked, sometimes I go to see what he's posted because I know there's always going to be a tidbit in there that I didn't get, or there's going to be some new twist on there that I hadn't thought about. Anyway, he says, another Q post, Durham, Q campaign began October 28, 2017. He was appointed by Sessions on same day as interim U.S. attorney in Connecticut. So he was appointed interim U.S. attorney in Connecticut, and the same day Sessions appointed him, to look into this stuff. And he was the stealth bomber. Now, talking about Durham, I believe. POTUS announced calm before the storm at meeting with military generals. And you remember that? All the military generals were there at the White House, and he said, you know what this represents? The calm before the storm. And a reporter said, what do you mean, Mr. President? What do you mean? Something, I don't know if he said, what's the storm or whatever, and he'll say, you'll find out. And he just keeps smiling, you'll find out. I love that. And he just says, yeah, calm before the storm. So POTUS said that, the calm before the storm, when all the generals were at the military people were at the White House, and they were all posing for photos and so forth. There was a press, there were press there, etc. And that was right before the Q campaign. I don't know what else to call it. I guess that's what SunQ2 calls it, Q campaign. I think that's a good way to refer to it because it started shortly thereafter. So there you go. Now, let's look at this. Now, we already looked at this article, the CIA abuse investigator, and these are the things of note that he's done. And let's go down below. And I put that in there, I guess, mainly for the sake of the notes, for those of you that want the notes and to be able to go over it yourself and look at things and look at it more in depth. But anyway, so these are all the things that he's done. He also led investigations into a former Connecticut government, investigated the Central Intelligence Agency, and Durham's reputation as nonpartisan made him Barr's surprise choice. And observers say he permits no leaks. That's a good thing to know. Partner and U.S. Attorney for Connecticut from 1985 to 1991, has known Durham for more than 3 decades and says the career prosecutor is straight down the middle. He is a person of tremendous integrity and is completely apolitical. Twardy said Tuesday he does not have a political bias in any way. He avoids it by keeping his head down and conducting the investigation without leaks. He is as close to Bob Mueller as anyone can be. He will conduct the investigation thoroughly. And it says Trump nominates John Durham for the next U.S. Attorney General for Connecticut, and then Barr, of course, chose him. So he is the one that's leading all this. Let's go back up to the Post. So, yeah, and it says, how are messages sent? And then Q gives us this to the Rolling Stones, which of course was full of all sorts of inaccuracies and propaganda, really. And then, it says, what if there's another prosecutor? There is. It is Durham. And he is well familiar with working with the criminal element. So I don't think we have to worry at all that the people that Durham are concentrating on right now are going to see justice. No doubt in my mind. All right, I think we have done that one and we can go on. So let's go on. Here we are going on. We'll get there. And this at the bottom, another post by SunQ2. Durham targeted Gambino family, but also Whitey Bulger. He investigated the CIA. He doesn't leak. Cabal used Rolling Stone article to give their friends a heads up that Durham was the secret stealth weapon. Not Sessions, Durham. Know their communications. Be ready, patriots. I like that. And I like that interpretation. All right. Now we're to the next one, and we are at Q Post 3582. Of course, we are still on November 11th, and there has been no Q post for this evening so far, anyway, or today. So this one has a link, and then it says mainstream media constant attacks. Ask yourself, why? Q. Well, we know why, don't we? I mean, we've seen it over and over and over again. For example, Trump says he's going to come out with a second phone call this week, right? A second Ukraine phone call that nobody knows anything about. And he's going to release the transcript this week. Well, isn't that interesting? You don't think that nobody knows about that phone call, right? So he doesn't have to release the transcript. Nobody's questioned him on it because he said nobody knows about it. So why is he releasing that transcript? Why would he do a thing like that? Well, because I think it's going to exonerate him, or it's going to make the deep state, as in Adam Schiff, look like a complete and total idiot. I mean, he does that himself, but Trump is just going to help it along a bit. That's my take on it, because notice how immediately after Trump said that, oh my gosh, something's wrong with Jimmy Carter. And now they're not expecting him to live. And also we had I can't remember which, I think it was ABC was posting something about a dog. And you see a dog post, somebody's going to die. I don't know why that is, but it seems to. And there was another person, another politician actually, that posted, I saw it today and now I can't remember, posted something about their dog dying and passing on. So interesting. Good old faithful dog. All right. So let's look at this link because Q has left it for us. So we would be doing it an injustice if we didn't look at it. And it's here. It says POTUS and Q near zero delta with Q posting seconds before Trump. Now, let's look at this. So this is what we just looked at, right? This is the post that we just looked at, 3581. And, we just saw that. Do you believe in coincidences? 55. Be ready, patriots. All right. That was posted yesterday at 3:23:51 p.m. 3:23:51 p.m. Then we have this, 3:24 p.m., November 11th, 2019. So they posted at nearly, hang on here, this is 3:23:51, just shy of 3:24. And then we have Trump posting, just like Schiff fabricated my phone call, he will fabricate the transcripts that he is making and releasing. Well, of course he will. He fabricates everything. He doesn't know. I don't know how he got into that position. Well, yes, I do, because somebody has told me, and I need to look into this, but I ran across this actually, I think it was earlier today, that Schiff is a Rothschild. Now, if any of you know any information about that, please leave it in the comments because I would like to know. I am going to look into it myself, but is he? That would explain a lot, wouldn't it? But yeah, he's very well connected. He's just not very bright. All right, let's go back now. And they're saying POTUS and Q near zero delta. A zero delta is when they're, posting at the same time. And here it's only 10 seconds apart. So that's, for all intents and purposes, a zero delta. All right. Now, let's go back because we have more. There's always more. All right. Now, this is going to be interesting. No, really. It is. This was posted at yesterday, obviously, as all of these were, at 19:21:54 Eastern Time. And it says, actually, he is quoting from June 12th, 2018, where Q stated, "Would you believe Hussein tried to call Kim prior to the summit?" Oh, no, he's not. I'm sorry. This is not him quoting earlier. I think he's letting us know when that was, June 12th, 2018. Would you believe Hussein tried calling Kim prior to the summit? He did not have his updated phone number. Q. Wait a minute. Why was his phone number updated? And why wouldn't Barack Obama have that? Think about it. This was, see, Hussein did not realize that Kim Jong-un was freed, that North Korea was free from the deep state, the cabal. It had been freed. Remember, it was under CIA control. That's what Q told us and proved to us. It was under CIA control. And actually, it was, wasn't it Google that had gone in and rewired and everything, done everything, whatever. But Hussein, Obama still thought that everything was all fine. He didn't know anything about it. So he tried to phone the old phone, and he had a new phone. Because he was no longer under the control of the deep state and the cabal. So, and it says previous number tracked by a select dedicated team. Number breakdown pre, post, POTUS elect. Do you believe in coincidences relevant to future upcoming events? Okay, first we're going to look at this and then we're going to take it apart. But it won't be like the staple gun story. You know, once we take it apart, it's not going to fall into a million pieces onto my lap. We're going to put it back together again so that everybody understands. Oh, all these ads. Okay. Says Donald Trump claims Barack Obama tried to call Kim Jong-un 11 times, but North Korea dictator had a lack of respect and wouldn't answer. As Obama-era national security spokesman says, it never happened. Trump told media during cabinet meeting that Barack Obama had tried 11 times to connect with Kim Jong-un via phone. He claimed the North Korea strongman rejected Obama each time. Obama national security spokesman calls him serial liar, says he never called. Trump made a similar claim in June, saying that the Obama administration had been unsuccessfully begging North Korea for a meeting. Former Obama-era National Security Advisor Susan Rice said at the time that the claim was horse shite. All right. So, it says Donald Trump said Monday during a cabinet meeting with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un prefers communicating with him to dealing with his predecessor Barack Obama, claiming Obama tried unsuccessfully nearly a dozen times to get Kim to take his phone call. I like him. He likes me. We get along. I respect him. He respects me, the president said of the despot who he has met in person 3 times. Trump said Obama had cautioned him during their transfer of power that North Korea's nuclear ambition was the biggest problem. I don't know how to solve it. He told me he doesn't know how to solve it. I said, did you ever call him? No. Trump continued. Actually, he tried 11 times, but the man on the other side, the gentleman on the other side, did not take his call. Okay? Lack of respect. But he takes my call. You gotta love Trump. He's master troller. It says Ben Rhodes, National Security Council spokesman under Obama, tweeted an hour later that Trump is a serial liar and not well, and insisted the outreach Trump described never happened. Right. Because we all believe Obama, right? All right, and it says the president has made similar claims in the past, saying in June that Obama had wanted to meet Kim, but his administration failed to arrange it. President Obama wanted to meet, and Chairman Kim would not meet him. Trump said during a June joint press conference in Seoul with South Korean President Moon Jae-in, the Obama administration was begging for a meeting. They were begging for meetings constantly, and Chairman Kim would not meet with him. Can't imagine why. Obama's one-time director of national intelligence, James Clapper. This is a great time to just stop and do a collective eye roll. Do you feel better? I feel slightly better. James Clapper laughed at the idea on CNN days later. Well, James Clapper's days of laughing are soon going to come to an end. I didn't even know the man laughed. I mean, you can't tell by looking at him. In all deliberations that I participated in on North Korea during the Obama administration, I can recall no instance whatsoever where President Obama ever indicated any interest whatsoever in meeting with Chairman Kim, Chairman Kim, Clapper said then. That's news to me, he snickered. Not so funny now, is it, Clapper? And this by Ben Rhodes, Obama never called Kim Jong-un. Obama never tried to meet Kim Jong-un. Trump is a serial liar and not well. Look at this guy. That's just a creepy grin, kind of like those creepy clowns that show up at people's doors. They catch them on cameras. That's what he looks like. If I saw that on my doorstep, my gosh, I'd call 911. No, I would, really. He's creepy, man. That's, I think, the first time I ever saw him smile. Trump and Kim held private talks for nearly an hour. Former intelligence director James Clapper laughed in June Trump's suggestion that Obama begged for a meeting with Kim. Yeah. Well, I'm just saying that, he didn't have any problem meeting with Trump, did he? Trump was able to get through to him and meet with him. Just saying. Susan Rice, an Obama-era national security advisor, tweeted, at the risk of stating the obvious, this is horse shite. Obama did say in 2007, as he ran for the Democratic presidential nomination, that I would be willing to meet with Kim without precondition. That there's no evidence, however, that such a meeting was ever contemplated after he took office in 2009. Former NBA player Dennis Rodman, who built a friendship with Kim Jong-un, said in 2013, after meeting him, he wanted Obama to reach out. He wants Obama to do one thing, call him, Rodman told ABC News at the time. He said, if you can, Dennis, I don't want to do war. I don't want to do war. He said that to me, Rodman claimed. So, and Dennis Rodman, for some odd reason, did have a very good relationship with Kim Jong-un. So, who knows? But anyway, we're going to go back now. Here we go. We're going back. Don't get dizzy. And we're going to go on with the same post. So Hussein did not realize that Trump had freed North Carolina. Oh my gosh, I don't know what is wrong with me. Had freed North Korea. North Carolina didn't need to be freed. I don't know. To my knowledge. Anyway, North Korea, and it was no longer beholden to the deep state. Now, I want to read this by Sun Q2. Again, great person to follow on Twitter, Dio Presso Liber. Q told us last year Hussein tried to call Kim to prevent him from meeting with POTUS. POTUS team had already endured Kim's, had already something, that's not the right word there, it must have been a spelling, had endured Kim's phone was changed out, had already, that doesn't make sense, but anyway, Kim's phone was changed out and warned that the CIA was tracking him. This will become more relevant as more facts revealed. Hussein had no clue as of June 2018 that POTUS was onto them and knew about the CIA control of North Korea. What a surprise. Yeah, surprise for him. Obama. All right, now we're going on to the next one, and that is post 3584. Again, November 11th, as all of these are, at 19:30:45 Eastern Time. Google, WB, can't say that word again, remember. Project DeepMind, AI Manhattan Project. Then there's a link, and it says February 18th, 2018, Project Deep Dream version 2A, Q. Do you believe in coincidences? Q. Now, what's he trying to tell us here? Well, first of all, he's providing a link. So let's start off by going out there and taking a look at what he's leading us to. And it's this, by Breitbart. And let me see here. One moment, please. It's bad enough that I stumble over my words. I don't want to start coughing. So, WB, Google is developing AI for planetary surveillance. Planetary surveillance. Doesn't that sound like a lot of fun? Not for me. Former Google senior software developer and WB, Zach Voorhees, appeared on SiriusXM's Breitbart News Tonight with host Rebecca Mansour Friday to discuss Google's relationship with Communist China and the company's artificial intelligence project DeepMind, which has been called the AI Manhattan Project. DeepMind disputed Voorhees' comments in a statement to Breitbart News, saying it does not have operations in China. Mansour asked Voorhees about Google's business engagements in China. Google has gotten in trouble in the past for doing business with the Communist government of China, Mansour said, and I wanted to ask you, were those efforts ongoing when you were there with the with the company? Can you give us any insight into that? Because it was quite troubling. So Google bought this AI company called DeepMind, Voorhees replied. Let me just put it in plain language what it is. DeepMind was creating a godlike AI system that is able to ingest the available public information on the internet and make sense of it. Think of it like Amazon Alexa, except much, much, much more intelligent. The AI system was moved out of the UK, I believe, and placed into China, and it's been dubbed the AI Manhattan Project. DeepMind disputed Voorhees' comments in a statement to Breitbart News. A DeepMind spokesperson said DeepMind is a scientific research organization headquartered in the UK and does not have operations in China. And we can trust Google, can't we? Voorhees continued, Peter Thiel, he accused Google of acting in a treasonous way. This is how serious this project is. It's the most sophisticated and advanced AI project in the world, made by an American company and placed in China. Voorhees stated, when people think of surveillance, they usually think of country surveillance. This is planetary surveillance of all information that is available on the surface web, and also any sources that it can get in the deep web, and utilizing Google's extensive deep analysis of its book scanning stuff. So think of the Library of Alexandria of all available websites that you can search for, and all that data gets fused together, and a decision-making process gets formed because of that. This is essentially what the Google DeepMind project is all about. Breitbart News, update. Following the publication of this piece, DeepMind contacted Breitbart News to dispute the accuracy of the statement made by Zach Voorhees during the interview. Specifically, DeepMind disputes Voorhees' statement that the project has moved its operation to China. It has. A DeepMind spokesperson told Breitbart News DeepMind is a scientific research organization headquartered in the UK and does not have operations in China. Well, we believe you, Google. Sure we do. Yeah. No, we don't. Not at all. Okay. A little scary if you ask me, but let's go back. We're not finished yet. So let's move down here. Now, this is interesting because this is from February 18th, 2018. And he's alluding to this particular drop because he's saying February 18th, 2018, which is when this was posted, said Project Deep Dream V2A Q and Project Deep Dream V2A. So we know that Q is pointing us here. We know that. And this is post 790. And this is it. At Snowden, where are you? Not Russia. Eyes on. You are now a liability. Helping Jack. Now who's Jack? That would be Jack Dorsey. Project Deep Dream V2A, version 2A. So you are now a liability. Helping Jack, that's not a question. He's telling us he's helping Jack with Project Deep Dream version 2A. We will never forget. And ES stands for Eric Schmidt of Google. Used to be. Eric Schmidt failed. Where is Eric Schmidt? John Perry Barlow, who was murdered by the deep state, define the end. The day of reckoning is upon us. John 3:16 Q. So what is all this? Let's come down here. Now, again, I am using a comment by Dio Presso Liber, SunQ2, Twitter. Actually, I didn't get this from Twitter, though. Q told us that Google plans for mass planetary surveillance several months ago. Breitbart article confirming what Q told us. Google works hand in hand with China and CIA and DARPA to develop the 1984 system on steroids. Yeah, you think 1984 was bad? This is worse. Planetary surveillance. Planetary, meaning There is nowhere to hide. Nowhere. Google's Project Deep Dream is version 2 of what they originally planned to implement. The plan of the deep state has been to control the world through surveillance, one world banking, and one world government. Has anyone read the book of Revelation lately? Yeah, they need something like that in effect for the book of Revelation to come to pass, absolutely. And that is the plan of the deep state, because how are they going to rule the world if they can't have a planetary surveillance system, right? Doesn't make sense to me. They need one world banking. They need one world surveillance. Yeah, so think about that. Now, here we are at the next post, and this one is 3586, posted at 20:02:58. So that would have been 8 o'clock last night, Eastern time. And this says, once CIA, always CIA. He's asking a question, but we know that Q, when he asks a question, he's making a statement, really. Once CIA, always CIA? Yes. Former CIA elected to Congress? Yes. Former CIA running for Congress? Yes. Former CIA running for Senate? Yes. Former CIA elected to Senate? Yes. Former CIA elected to presidency? Interesting? Yes. Define black op, clandestine. We'll get to that in a minute. Once CIA, always CIA? Yes. At Snowden, pre-NSA, Snowden was CIA. At Snowden, base of ops, geographical location, we were told, we were led to believe, rather, that it was Russia. It is not. It is China. Whistleblowers, WB versus POTUS. Yes. With WBs are against POTUS. They're coming up against POTUS. Former CIA. Yes. The WB is former CIA. Define black op, clandestine. What happens if rogue elements of the U.S. ABC, and he's put the kill shot around the C because he's talking about the CIA, intel agency target. What happens if rogue elements of the U.S. CIA intel agency target to insert U.S. political system? So what he's saying is, what would happen if the CIA targeted, and wanted to insert into the political system a president, a VP, House, Senate? That is precisely what they are doing and have been attempting to do for a while now, quite successfully. NSC, U.S. ambassador, etc., in black op designed to control friend versus foe targeting. Self-preservation? Absolutely. NSA versus CIA? Q. Now, let's take a look at what he's telling us here. So, black op. What is a black op? I think we all know, but in case there's anybody new listening, let me give you the dictionary definition. Black ops is a secret mission or campaign carried out by a military government or other organization, typically one in which the organization conceals or denies its involvement. That's particularly important. A black op is typically one in which the organization conceals or denies its involvement. They don't come right out and say, hey, I'm black ops. I mean, that would just be ridiculous, wouldn't it? So now, what is the dictionary definition of clandestine? Now, I think we all know, but just in case, let's look at it. It says characterized by, done in, or executed with secrecy or concealment, especially for purposes of subversion or deception, private or surreptitious. So that is what Q is telling us when he is saying black ops, clandestine, define black op or clandestine. Well, a black op by very definition is clandestine, right? All right. Now we've got more left to uncover here. Now let's look at this. Again, I really like Sun Q2's work here, and I am using it again, but I want to give him full credit for his own work. Snowden worked for the CIA prior to being planted at NSA. Now, we all know that now. I mean, we wouldn't have if it hadn't been for prior Q posts, but now we do. So, so he worked for the CIA, then he was planted at the NSA to steal the NSA hacking technology and frame the NSA for CIA global surveillance plans. Base of Snowden's operations was ultimately Hong Kong. Snowden worked with the CIA on planetary surveillance, but Google WB blew it wide open. So remember, I was a little bit confused because they were talking about Snowden as if he was some kind of criminal. Well, now we see that he indeed is. He's not this, knight in shining armor like everyone would like us to believe. Not at all. So that makes a whole lot of sense, doesn't it? Now, this is a prior post where Q said much of the same thing. This on January 6, 2019. He said, when will the public discover that Ted Cruz was also illegally surveilled pre-POTUS or Republican nomination? CIA, illegal surveillance, members of Congress. CIA, illegal surveillance, members of the press. CIA, illegal surveillance, Senate Intel Committee. Yeah, that's Adam Schiff, CIA. Anyway, who ordered the surveillance? What justification was provided to authorize surveillance of elected officials? Surveillance falls under scope of FISA warrant or internal to department, outsourced to Five Eyes. Reality check, friend or foe. We all spy on each other. Should we be spying on ourselves? Should we be tasking others to spy on ourselves? Now, we've gone through all of this in depth in the past, and I don't want to belabor it for those of you that are longtime listeners because you know all this stuff. I do try to strike a balance in between, trying to consider new listeners and trying to, take into account the fact that a lot of my listeners are longtime listeners and have heard all this. So what I'm going to do, let me see here. Now, this is very interesting right here. Okay, we're going to come down because we've looked at this. This is from the past January, so we've looked at all this, but look at all this stuff about Snowden. Very interesting. Where did Snowden work prior to NSA? Contractor, CIA. Now, I want to come down here. If Snowden was CIA, NSA, would he not understand simple logic going public prior to end destination safety? Would limit active passport travelability due to block? See, they had blocked his passport. Why didn't he come clean before he fled? I don't know. Well, we do know. But why wouldn't Snowden publicly release info after he was already safely at the final destination? Because he was at his final destination. Now, why then would Snowden route through Russia? Why Russia? Final destination? No, Russia was not the final destination. Was Russia true destination? No, Hong Kong was the true destination. Could Snowden be releasing class programs intel from inside of Russia? What role did Brennan play? And then we've got some interesting stuff down here. Does CIA hold blackmail on political leaders? Yes, absolutely. No doubt about it. I believe that is what Epstein was. He was CIA and he was getting intel on the who's who, basically, of world leaders, because not just world leaders political, but in the entertainment industry, royalty, you have it. He would invite them to the island and get video evidence and use it as blackmail. That's what he did. So it says, does the CIA hold blackmail on political leaders? Oh, yes, indeed it does. Does the CIA protect those who protect them? Yes, they do. How are ex-CIA contractors running for office? I don't know, but they are. A whole bunch of them. How many ex-CIA contractors are currently in office? I don't know. But then, right after he says that, how many ex-CIA contractors are currently in office? Hello, Adam Schiff. Once an agent, always an agent. Q. Doesn't that just make sense of everything that Adam Schiff is doing right now? Self-preservation, not only of himself, but of others that are in the CIA. I mean, that were contractors. It's preservation. And he knows that if he doesn't do it, they're going to get him. So no wonder he looks so sweaty and shifty, because he's probably scared out of his mind, because he's going down one way or another. If he succeeds, the only way he can get out of this is if he succeeds. That's it. That's it. If he doesn't succeed, the Trump administration will get him. And if they don't get him, the deep state will. So, yeah, he's not in a very good position, to tell you the truth. Now, let's look at this. And this is from Liberty and Justice for All. Another massive drop from QAnon. At first, I thought this was another rehash from Q prior posts regarding Snowden, but so much more here. Start from the bottom. Representative Adam Schiff is a CIA agent per Q. Once an agent, always an agent. We know he is, this is where I got it, we know he is a Rothschild relative. Why are several CIA agents, why did several CIA agents, okay, this is bad grammar, but why did several CIA agents run for Congress this last election? Well, we know, because if they're in Congress, they can control things, right? They can control things from the inside. Q posted about this before. Why? Because clowns losing their grip on elected officials thanks to POTUS. They're losing their ground. CIA controls via blackmail, money, and power. POTUS cut their strings to several Republican politicians in 2017. Brennan converted to Islam while heading up the CIA. That is a fact. So did Justin Trudeau, by the way, and a whole bunch of other people. Brennan converted to Islam while heading up the CIA field office in Saudi Arabia. The left claims it's a conspiracy, right? Snowden was CIA inserted into NSA to give NSA black eye and project crimes and constituents violations of CIA onto the NSA to make public hate the NSA, but not the CIA. CIA enabled Snowden to flee to Hong Kong and to Russia. He sabotaged the NSA. Q said he's a traitor, and he is. So we can go on now. No, we can't. There's more. Well, I thought we could. All right. And Hussein had Brennan spy on everyone. Maxine Waters bragged about a huge database with info on everyone. Five Eye program enables intel sharing. You spy on our citizens and we'll spy on yours and swap data. No records retrieval of data. Last May, Senator Rand Paul wrote to Donald Trump requesting an investigation into warrantless wiretaps versus other candidates' campaigns, members of Congress, and staff members. Rand Paul questioned to Gina Haspel. Gina Haspel is the head of the CIA. It is supposed to be illegal for the CIA to spy on Americans. So the question is, did John Brennan ask the British intelligence to spy on Americans for him? Yes, he did. Did he ask them to spy on President Trump's campaign? Yes. Regarding Hillary Rodham Clinton and special access programs, highly classified data, which she sold for a price, I'm betting Brennan gave her access. She transferred special access programs to unsecured server, and CrowdStrike managed the infiltration program, selling access based on payments to the Clinton Foundation. China learned names of spies and killed them. It's no surprise Hussein's DOJ didn't punish Brennan for spying on Congress. He was following orders from the top. The entire administration was corrupt and committing treason. Snowden was a farm-trained clown, and of course, the CIA, it's called the farm. Snowden was farm-trained clown who worked undercover at NSA. He was a Booz Allen contractor to sabotage NSA collection capabilities to give clowns clear passage to coordinate Uranium One and Iran deals. Was General Hayden the one who recommended him? Now, that again was Liberty and Justice for All, then, I believe, and then, and we've got this. That time, Edward Snowden and General Michael Hayden took a photo together wearing smiles and tuxedos. Wire has published massive profile of NSA WB Edward Snowden, and while it's worth a read in its entirety, here's one photo from the story that has already emerged as a standout. You don't say. Now, we are at the end, but we have one more to cover here, and then I'm going to end this video and come back with a little bit of news for you guys so that we don't get behind in that either, because of course it's always very, very important to cover Q, but we also want to stay up to date on the news so that we understand what Q is telling us, because it goes hand in hand. Now, this is the last one, and this is good news for everyone. This was posted at 20:56:17 Eastern Time, so that would have been 9 o'clock last night, and it says indictments coming. Period. And in the kill brackets and bolded, it says 2019. So we know on this side of January that we are going to see the indictments. That is what Q is telling us. We're going to see them. It's not going to be 2020. It's going to be 2019. So there you go. That's good news for everyone involved. We've all been waiting for this. It seems like an eternity. It's funny that, you know, when you don't know this stuff is going on, you know, you can suspect, but until you really know, and then once you know, it's already like, why aren't they arrested already? And I have felt that way since Q first started posting. It's like, okay, do it already. And of course, I didn't understand that everything had to be done in time, and so much is dependent on other things happening. So it's taken a long while. It seems to have taken a long while, but really in reality, it hasn't. So that is it for the Q post for November 11th. And I do not believe, but let me go and check just to be sure, because I don't want to steer you guys wrong. Let me see if he has posted anything today. This is the last one we looked at right here. I'm pointing with my finger like you can, yeah. Right here. And let me refresh this. Reload. Refresh, reload. That's what I need to do. I drank some coffee, but it didn't really help. Yes, we are completely up to date with the Q post, so that is good news for all. Well, maybe not. I always like to have new Q posts to look at and dissect, but that is it. So I'm going to call it a night. Well, I'm going to call it a night for this video, but there's still another one to come. So stay tuned for that one. And I'm going to end this here. So you guys stay safe, stay well, stay blessed. And you know that Epstein didn't kill himself.